Hello and a very warm welcome to Harrogate, the jewel of Yorkshire, where the bunch is gathered for stage 4 of 4x4, the Queen's Highway After Party. 19.8 kilometres of circuit racing and one savage KOM sting in the tail, all in the 330 to 450 ZRS category. And the flag falls, the Royal Pump Room slides by, and they are away down the hill. Stage 4 is live. So, Chloe, before the road starts handing out the pain, who's getting your money to win this one?
Well, this one's all about the tail, Simon. 5 circuit laps that mostly hold together, then a brutal little KOM ramp to the line that tips up past 5%. So I'm reading sustained power to weight for a 4-minute finishing effort. Top of my list is Guay, biggest engine in the race and the best 5-minute number at 3.7 with a thumping sprint to back it up if it stays together. Right there with him is JesusReign, 3.6 over 5 minutes, the sharpest finishing kick of the climbers, and a tiny run of results. And don't sleep on Gurra, the strongest 20-minute man on the start line and a proven winner on a hard finish. The wild cards are the punchy ones. Poole's got the fastest legs here and the best recent form of anyone, but he'll have to still be there over the top of that climb to use them. And to follow who's actually hurting Simon, watch the live Limit Leaderboard down the side of your screen. Each rider gets a heart rate bar stretched across the top, then 2 bars sharing the row beneath it, a flame on the left, a lightning bolt on the right. The heart shows how close they are to a best ever cardiac effort. The flame is the live one, how near they are to their systemic ceiling this very second. And the bolt tracks their power against a personal best for whatever duration they're holding. Full and green, they're comfortable. Draining down, they're on the rivet. And when one empties out and starts flashing, they've gone somewhere they've never been before.
Wonderful stuff, Chloe. And one quick word before we knuckle down, you'll catch a wheel or two out there who aren't on our official start sheet, so they won't get a mention in the call or a place on that leaderboard. Keep your eyes on the 8 that count because the road's already rolling and we are racing. You know, Chloe, there's something almost tender about these opening kilometres. A whole peloton breathing as one down the Harrogate Valley, wheels whispering over the tarmac like a shared secret. It's less a bike race just now and more a waltz, wouldn't you say? A moment of grace before the mountain asks its terrible question.
A waltz, Simon? They're already at threshold on a 2.8% ramp. There's nothing balletic about it. But funnily enough, Guay's coach let slip to me this week that he's been deep in a full heat acclimation block. Sauna sessions after every ride to lift the plasma volume. On an engine that size, that's a frightening amount of extra headroom to bring to a finish like this one.
Heat block, eh? Fair dinkum, Doc. I tried that caper once. Cranked the garage heater, 3 jumpers on, no fan. Reckoned I'd cook up a bit of that plasma magic before a big one. 20 minutes in, I'm seeing stars, sweat's shorted out the smart trainer, and the missus walks in to find me lying on the concrete talking to the cat like it owed me money. Won the race the next day, mind. Never worked out if it was the plasma or just sheer relief to be outdoors.
And talk of the calm ending, here comes Spudboy, tearing it up. He's stamped on the pedals over the crest, and he is not letting the descent do the work for him, pouring out the watts, stringing the bunch into a line behind him. That is the biggest single effort we've seen all day, and the fire bar is draining fast to pay for it.
And now they get the plunge for their trouble. Steepest bit of free real estate on the whole circuit. Tuck in, chin on the stem, let gravity pay the wages for a bit. My favourite kind of watts, Simon, the ones you don't have to make yourself.
And watch Han here, Simon. Off the bottom of the plunge, he suddenly stamped on it, a real sharp injection of pace where most are freewheeling. That's a surprise from a rider built as a pure diesel. No sprint to speak of on paper, yet there's the lightning bolt draining as he digs to lift his group's tempo across the valley floor. And while it settles onto these rollers, Simon, let me pull the form book on JesusReign, because he arrives here in good nick. 3rd place last time out on the Jurassic Coast stage of this very series, and his racing score has been ticking upward race on race. A steady, quietly improving run rather than one flashy result. He's the sort of rider who's climbing into his best form at exactly the right moment, and on a finish that suits that sharp kick of his, that trajectory makes him dangerous.
Yes, Simon, get me on this. Spudboy's the story. That early digger's carried him clean off the front with the leaders, and up the road he is absolutely redefining himself right now. Every single bar on his panel has emptied out and started flashing at once. He's gone past what the numbers said he had left. A raw effort beyond his own ceiling. Fair dinkum, I've never seen a bloke light up all three at the same time. He's riding the ride of his life out there.
And Han is at it again! Onto the Yorkshire sprint kick, and this so-called diesel has lit a second match, driving up the ramp and forcing the whole group to answer him. Twice now he's been the one to crack the whip on a day that supposedly doesn't suit him. The firebar tumbling, but he does not care. He is making this race hurt early.
And it's Carara who answers it best, Simon. One of the most experienced heads in this whole field, and he's covered that kick without a flicker of panic. His effort bar is deep in the red, sure, but look how smoothly he's laying the power down over the top of the sprint. No wild lunge, just a big measured turn. That's a rider who's climbed 1,000 of these and knows exactly what a lap one dig is worth.
You know, Chloe, I've always thought a bike rider is really a kind of poet, each one out there composing a private verse in the language of suffering. Every pedal stroke a syllable, building towards some beautiful, agonized crescendo at the summit. There's an artistry to it that no spreadsheet could ever hope to capture. Surely even you must feel that.
A poet, Simon? Right. Well, if it's verse, it's the same 3-word poem every single one of them is writing right now, and it rhymes with ouch. What you're calling artistry is just a body converting sugar into heat and regret at a truly unsustainable rate. Beautiful crescendo, I'll grant you. It's also called going into oxygen debt, and it does not scan.
Sustained drag up Kent Road. Reminds me of a stage I did years back, Simon. Dead flat, long climb like this, and I'd pinned all me hopes on grabbing a gel from me back pocket at the bottom. Went to reach for it, gone. Fell out 10 k's earlier. So there I am, full gas up the drag, running on a servo meat pie and pure stubbornness, watching everyone else suck down their fancy carbs. Finished 4th. What a pie, mate. Reckon they've been fueling wrong ever since.
And there's the banner. Lap 1 in the bank. Only 4 more of these little beauties to go. Or as we say back home, Simon, same pain, different postcode.
So let's take stock as they cross for lap 1, Simon, because the shape is telling. All this early aggression has come at a cost. Han's thrown 2 big matches on the fire, and his bars are draining now. And Cam's the first real warning sign. His power's dropped off a cliff, and he's sliding off the back of the group. Meanwhile, the engines that actually decide this, Guay, Gurra, JesusReign, are sitting in doing nothing they don't have to. There are 4 more laps of this before that KOM ramp even arrives, and the riders spending big now are writing checks the climb will cash. Patience is winning this race, quietly right in front of us. Here's something you'll enjoy, Simon. Watch the whole group go quiet on this descent. Not a soul turning the pedals, hearts dropping, everyone freewheeling in perfect silence. To me, that's just 8 closed systems shedding heat and clearing lactate at the exact same rate. I have a feeling you're about to tell me it's something rather more romantic than that.
Oh, I'll do better than that, Chloe, because your silent heat-shedding systems are, to my eye, a congregation at prayer. That hush isn't nothing happening, it's the deepest something. 8 riders gathered in the calm before they ask everything of themselves again, drawing breath in unison like a held note before the orchestra swells. You hear thermodynamics, I hear reverence. And do you know, I think secretly we're both a little bit right.
Recovery rollers like this always take me back, Simon. I had a director once, marginal gains mad, who reckoned we could save watts by trimming the little tags off our socks. Dead serious. Whole team sat in the bus with nail scissors before the start, snipping away like a sewing circle. We got smashed by 4 minutes that day, but by golly, our socks were aerodynamic. Proudest 4-minute hiding in my career.
And this is the bit of the lap where nobody wants to be a hero, Simon. Everyone tucked in, doing their level best to look busy while doing absolutely nothing. Reckon I could win a gold medal at that.
You know what strikes me, Chloe, is the setting for all this drama. Genteel Harrogate, elegant spa town, tea rooms and flower gardens, a place people have come for 2 centuries to take the healing waters and soothe their aches. And here we are, turning its quiet streets into a colosseum of self-inflicted agony. There's a delicious irony there, isn't there? Suffering this hard in the town built entirely on the promise of feeling better.
Feeling better is very much off today's menu, Simon. And here's Exhibit A. Poole has just detonated up the Yorkshire sprint kick. Over 5 watts per kilo, the punchiest set of legs in this whole race finally showing their hand. A savage acceleration that stretched the entire group into a single line in an instant. That's exactly the snap I flagged for you before the flag dropped, and he's barely even dented his fire bar to produce it. Quite ruthless.
And he hasn't sat up! Over the top of the kick, and Poole is still hammering it, holding that big effort where most would ease and coast. The effort bar pinned right at the very top of what he can do. He's throwing the kitchen sink at a lap 2 sprint, and you could almost hear Chloe wincing at the accounting.
And now he pays for it, Simon. Poole's finally easing off over the crest, the power halving as the effort catches up with him. But look at the damage. That one dig has torn the group's shape apart. A couple of wheels already shelled out the back and losing touch. It was expensive, no question. His bars will remember it. But on a punchy day like this, that's exactly the kind of move that quietly whittles a field down.
But look who refuses to be shelled! Carara! Left for dead when that group split, and the old warhorse has simply put his head down and hauled himself all the way back up the Kent Road drag. Over 4 watts per kilo of pure refusal. He's clawed back every metre he lost and rejoined the front of the race. What a ride of experience and sheer bloody-mindedness from one of the elder statesmen of this field.
And a little intel on Gurra to file away for that finish, Simon. His numbers make a lot of sense when you hear what he's been up to. Word from his camp is he spent the whole winter buried in a huge sweet spot block, just grinding out threshold work, hour after hour of it. That's exactly the kind of engine building that pays off on a sustained drag to a summit. No fireworks and training, just relentless, patient horsepower. On a finish like today's, that's money in the bank.
Grinding up a climb like this, you can zone right out, which is how I learnt my hardest lesson, Simon. Training ride back home, magpie season, and I've got my head down doing efforts. Didn't see the swoop coming. That bird went for me helmet like I owed it rent. I've swooved into a hedge and I finished the session picking privet out of me teeth. True story. These days, I reckon a Yorkshire climb's a holiday. At least nothing up here's trying to take an eye out.
And round they go again. Same plunge, same rollers, same fellas pretending they're comfortable. Bike racing on a circuit, Simon, it's just a very expensive way to end up exactly where you started.
And you can feel it out there, can't you, Chloe? The whole race living under the shadow of that final climb. It waits at the end of every lap like a patient old judge, saying nothing, letting them circle and circle, knowing full well that sooner or later each of them has to come and stand before it and be measured. There's something almost fated about it, don't you think?
Fated, sentimental, and about 5%. Yes, Simon. But while we wait on your judge, let me pull the file on the man animating all this. Spudboy. His backstory explains that boldness up the road. He's a rider stepping up in class, winning and taking podiums down in the category below not long ago, and now pitting himself against tougher company here. That's a rider riding with real freedom and belief, and it's exactly why he's been on the front foot all day rather than tucking into the bunch.
Descents like this take me back to me first ever pro race, Simon. I was that keen, warmed up for 2 hours, followed the fast blokes to the line, heart going like a drum. Gun goes, I attack from the gun, absolutely full noise off the front, and a marshal's waving me down. Turns out I'd lined up in the wrong start pen. I'd just soloed off the front of the veteran's handicap. Fittest I've ever been for a race I wasn't even in, mate.
And here's a twist I did not have on my card, Simon. Remember all that lovely sweet spot engine talk about Gurra? Well, the roads just cruelly ignored it. He's been shelled clean out of the back of the lead group, and he's the better part of 20 seconds adrift now, really laboring to hold the pace. Up front, it's a tight bunch of 7 still locked together, and reading their bars, 2 men look ominously comfortable. Guay and Poole, both with barely a quarter of their systemic reserves touched. With one more lap before that KOM ramp, those two are sitting exactly where a winner wants to be, fresh, hidden, and waiting.
Last lap of the circuit now, Simon. This is where blokes stop chatting and start doing sums in their heads, and every single one of them's arriving at the same answer. Mate, this is going to hurt. Word in the paddock, Simon, is that Poole's has spent the last few weeks adding plyometrics to his program. Box jumps, bounding, all that caper, trying to put a bit more pop in that sprint of his. Explains the snap we saw earlier. Mind you, I also heard he nearly put his back out landing one of the jumps, so let's call it a work in progress, eh?
Now, Simon, I know you're about to reach for something grand about the calm before the storm, so let me get in first with the truth of it. What's actually happening on these last rollers is coldly mechanical. Every rider dropping their power to the floor, flushing metabolites, topping up whatever's left in the tank, because they all know precisely what's coming. It's not poetry, it's a pit stop. Go on then, dress it up however you like.
A pit stop? Chloe, you've just described soldiers sharpening their swords in the last quiet minute before the charge and called it flushing metabolites. But you know what? I'll take your pit stop because it's the same beautiful truth from both ends. Every one of them gathering themselves, gulping down one last breath of calm because they know that at the top of this drag the road turns toward the mountain and there is no hiding left. Mechanical or magical, it's the loveliest silence in sport. And here it comes.
And as they drop toward the foot of the climb, Simon, one last note on the man with the biggest engine here, Guay. His recent form's been a touch up and down. A rough day at a crit not long back where he lost ground. Then he bounced straight back with a top 5 the very next outing. That tells you he's a rider still searching for the result that matches his numbers. Well, a summit finish with fresh legs is about the best platform he could ask for. This is his stage to grab.
And there it is! Guay has thrown down the hammer! The biggest engine in the race has hit the foot of the KOM and simply unleashed! Close to 6 watts per kilo, ripping straight off the front of that group! Oh, this is the move he's been saving all afternoon, and behind him the elastic is snapping, riders coming undone all over the road! Guay is going for the win, and he means it!
And only one rider has gone with him, Simon JesusReign, right on the limit at over 4.5 watts per kilo. But he's the single man in this race who could answer that dig, and he's dragging himself up to Guay's wheel. This is the selection right here, the 2 best engines on the mountain and everyone else already cracking behind him. Exactly the finish his form promised.
Yeah, Simon, and spare a thought for Cam back down the climb. He's been distanced, no danger of the win, but get this, he's just gone and set a new power best of his life on that final pitch. Lightning bolt flash and empty, digging deeper than he ever has, for pride and pride alone. No cameras, no glory, just a bloke refusing to sit up. Good on him, that's the ride you'll remember, mate. And they're dropping like dominoes back here, Simon. Now it's Hand going past his own ceiling for a new best of his own, flat out, even as the leaders ride away from him. That whole chase group's turned into a personal best factory. Righto, but the race for the win is up the road. Back to you.
And Poole is buried in the hurt box on this final pitch. Everything he has going into the pedals, effort bar screaming, clawing to salvage every place he can on the run to the line. He hasn't the legs to go with the leaders, but by heaven he is not giving an inch cheaply. Teeth gritted over the steepest ramp of the day. And the drama detonates! Guay is cracking! The man who looked home and dry has hit the wall! The power pouring out of him, and he's being swallowed back into the race! Here comes JesusReign back from the dead and absolutely flying! And Poole is with him, the pair scenting blood! Guay is gone, gobbled up! It's a 2-man dash to the banner now! JesusReign and Poole, shoulder to shoulder, throwing everything at it, neck and neck, digging for the line! And it's JesusReign! JesusReign snatches it, Poole pipped right on the throw. An astonishing turnaround on the Queen's Highway. And JesusReign has won the Queen's Highway after party, but oh how he had to earn it! Across the line he goes, past his own limit entirely, every bar on his panel flashing empty at once, a new systemic best and a new power best in the very act of snatching victory. He found what's the numbers swore he did not have, and he threw them all at that line, an absolutely heroic winning ride.
And the data tells you exactly how it was won and lost, Simon. Guay lit the whole thing up from the very bottom of the climb, but he spent everything in one go. The tank hit empty, and he simply came apart, trickling home a heartbroken third. JesusReign and Poole timed it to perfection, both going clean past their own ceilings to fill the podium. A worthy winner and a gutsy runner-up. So today, Simon, the poetry and the physics agree. That was a magnificent bike race. From all of us on the Queen's Highway, thanks for watching, and good night.